Hello, friends, and for the week 4 DFS breakdown. Gonna be doing things differently today. Life got in the way this week, and more importantly, the website I use for my fantasy football website, beatbestball.com. I don't know what's going on with the server there, but I can't access it to actually upload any content. So we're doing it live via stream this week. Hopefully they get things going. So we always like to start this by looking at a dog, what's it called? A dog bowl draft, just to get a different idea of how the players are valued. So, Zach Moss and Chuba should be pretty popular, going off as third-round picks, pretty affordable. James Conner should be pretty popular, going as a borderline first-round pick. Aaron Jones, another popular one, revenge game. And then guys who will probably be a little less popular, Travis Etienne, a former, fourth-round pick in fantasy football drafts, going in the 5th round behind Najee, behind Brian Robinson, behind Zach Moss, behind Chuba. Roshan, a sneaky guy to consider this week, getting ahead of a potential usage boost there. And then, tight end is pretty dead. There's a lot of injuries to sort through right now. Is George Kittle playing? Dave, though. Is AJ Brown thinking? Gypsy Lark thinks so. He's practicing. My vibe on there is it's unlikely he plays. Does Devonta Smith play? So I don't know on the injury things. But yeah. Again, usually we'd have more info here, but going to have to do it this way. And I'm kind of low on time. Just found gonna have to go scoop my dad up for a doctor's appointment. So, we have 45 minutes an hour. Gonna try to cram this in. Looking at DraftKings mainly. So Vegas totals. The Cardinals should be uber popular. They get the terrible Commanders defense. Marvin Harrison Jr. quad contusion should be fine, but I'm probably just gonna lock him, figure it out. Wide receiver ones against the Commanders. Print almost every time. The Bengals should be pretty popular. Both Jamar Chase, he's affordable, and Zach Moss, as we talked about. Eric All is a very cheap punt tight end at 2,500, so I'm going to be playing some of him. Texans, 49ers, Lions aren't on the main slate. Cowboys already played. Ravens being favored is insane to me. Jets and Chiefs are the other highest totals. And then Jordan Love. Looks like we're getting Jordan Love back. Trey McBride also out. Should make Elijah Higgins popular. I might just play Eric All to get different there. Yeah. On Ayuk, I guess the question would be, who is Christian Gonzalez covering? If he covers Ayuk, great thing for Juwan Jennings. If he covers Juwan Jennings, great thing for Ayuk. So I guess we're just going to go game by game this week since I don't have the article made because I can't get it posted on the site. And so let's just go game by game, and then I'll add in the leverage spots I think of along the way. So yeah, I mean, Bijan popped up with a shoulder injury, probably nothing. Getting elite usage here, 16, 14, 18 attempts, 5.52 targets. I think he's going to be pretty unpopular with people wanting to pay down for Aaron Jones, James Conner. So I'm going to play some Bijan at 7,400. Alvin Kamara's in play every week. Popped up on an injury report, practice, so should be fine. I think going back to the well on Olave and Shaheed both seems good to me. At the Darnell Mooney, he's in target totals of 873. Could get a high scoring division game here. Still don't know what we do and don't know about the Saints. And I'm totally fine firing up a car double. I think the car double with Olave and Shaheed is in play every single week of the season. Kyle Pitts, if you're brave, you can go there. I am not. at 4,800. So Taysom Hill, yeah, no. All right, moving on. By the way, if you tailed the pick'em slip I did yesterday, we cashed that bad boy. I only was able to get in 4 lines. It was Rico Dowdle touchdown, Lamb over, Neighbors over, Devin Singletary under 12 half-point PPR points, and then sorry, my screen's so zoomed out. And then I also wanted to get in the Brandon Cooks under on 4 receptions. I wasn't able to find that line on my phone, but other people tailed me. So we hit the pick'em. If I have time, I'll get us a pick'em going into the weekend. Try to roll the good vibes there. So we cash pick'ems on this channel. That's like the first solo pick'em I did this year. 1 for 1, baby. So Cincinnati at Carolina. Yeah, Joe Burrow. The Bengals are one of the few teams like still passing the ball at a high rate. He's actually thrown for 300 yards. Carolina, you can get them on the ground, but I don't know if that's how the Bengals will view it. I feel like the Bengals, they're 0-3. They're going to want to get their offense gelling here. So Joe Burrow should be very popular. Andy Dalton is 100% a viable pay down option. The Bengals defense does not look impressive at all. But if you don't want to eat the chalk on Andy Dalton. Like if he's going to be 20% owned, that's a pass. Zach Moss, yeah, he's kind of expensive. But he's getting most of the high value touches, 12 attempts, 6 targets, got a touchdown at the end of the game. And Chase Brown, 7 rushing attempts, 3 targets. I think Chase Brown barely played against the Chiefs, and I think that had more to do with it being the Chiefs. I think against the Panthers, we shouldn't assume that Moss is going to just be the dominating guy. My intuition there is if this game gets out of hand, the Bengals will probably want to get Chase Brown going. Like if the Bengals can get up 20 points, which maybe they can't, then they're going to want to get Chase Brown going in kind of like a low stress environment where you play Moss a lot because he pass protects. You play Moss a lot because he keeps Joe Burrow safe. He does all the little things right. You still think Chase Brown's the higher ceiling player. He's more explosive. So I could see he's not really playable other than in like Millie Maker, but I could definitely see Chase Brown having a better game, which does make me a little less interested in Moss as a play by himself. Just if we look at Moss at 6K, he's close to Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones seems a much better play to me. He's close to James Conner. Seems like a much better play. Jordan Mason is close there. Rashad White might be without Bucky Irving. So I think Moss will be chalky, and I'm not as interested as the field. Chuba is a pretty great play. 21 rushing attempts, 5 targets. They could be trailing in this game. And Miles Sanders was down to 7 attempts and 2 targets. So Chuba seems to be trending up. He's a definitely viable play. Same problem with Moss, where he's just priced close to other running backs I prefer more. Jamar Chase, too cheap. Panthers defense is just not good really anywhere. So yeah, they're getting beat up on the run, but they're 32nd in points allowed. So yeah, Chase, I'd find a way to play him. Higgins, I think, would be a sneaky play. Doubt people are going to want to play him. But 6 targets, should have had a touchdown, should have had a 2-point conversion, could have had a much better box score. So I could see him being the guy who people view as too expensive, which keeps his ownership low and leverages off of Zach Moss. It leverages off of Jamar Chase. Deontay, he's banged up, so you'll want to monitor that. I'm not going to play Deontay. I think he will sim well as a good play with no Adam Thielen. If you want to play 25% own Deontay, go for it. He's too cheap for his role. I will say that. So he's a cash game viable guy. I'm just not going to go there in tournaments and hope the Panthers just fail. I think Leggett with no Thielen, again, he's a guy, he's too priced for what he is, but it will be very low owned. It will be leverage off of Deontay. Mingo, if you're brave, you could do that. I will not, though. And Yoshi Voss, I don't think Yoshi Voss is playable. He's just running hot on touchdowns. Millie Maker stuff, sure. Gesicki, yep, he's definitely in the mix. Target totals of 5, 9, and 4. But the guy I'm more interested in here is Tommy Tremble. Seems to be the Panthers tight end. I don't really care about playing Panthers tight ends, but you can. And Eric All. I think I will be playing some here. Target totals of 4 each. Rookie, got a lot of offseason buzz. People were fighting over him on Twitter this week. Shout out Sam Sherman and whoever that weirdo is who tried to fight with him. And if Elijah Higgins is going to be the chalk, you just kind of hope that you play Eric All, you leverage off of the other popular Bengals pieces, and you simply hope your guy falls in the end zone and their guy doesn't, because both All and Higgins are unlikely to be like getting the 100-yard bonus, Moving on, Rams, Chicago, definitely a game I'm super interested in. I think Caleb Williams is viable. No, they are not going to pass the ball 52 times a game. I don't think Stafford's playable really any week. He just has shown very little ceiling. So he's a pass always. And yeah, I think people are like, you want to get ahead of these things. I played Caleb last week at very low ownership, a Caleb double with Moore and Rome. I think that's in play again. Running back, Kyron, super in play. The Bears defense is really legit, but they do get beat up more on the ground. And I could see the Rams viewing their best chance to win this game to feed Kyron again. He got 24 attempts last week, only 2 targets. So, yeah, we saw JT get there. I could see playing Caleb, Kyron as a bring back, and, Rome and DJ Moore. DeAndre Swift, unplayable to me personally. Herbert, unplayable. But Roshan Johnson at 4,100. He was a unload the clip guy for me in managed. There has been some loose reporting that he could get an extended look. This was his first game active, 8 attempts, 4 catches. So again, the Bears ran, I think, like 90 plays last week. That is abnormally high. That's going to regress down. But Roshan, a legit starting running back at 4,100, maybe, that's just a guess. There's been loose reporting. It's quite possible Herbert and Swift are still involved, but if Roshan gets some of Swift's work, gets some of short yardage work, he's 4,100. So I think he's very firmly in play. DJ Moore is like T. Higgins, too expensive. His box score seems fine from last week, but 60 of these yards came on a Hail Mary, so he actually had a bad day. And he's being used weird. So you can beat the Rams deep, and we know DJ Moore has that in his bag of tricks to win deep. So I'm going to be interested in like a Caleb double with Moore and Rome. Keenan, if he plays, it makes us less interested in everyone on the Bears, and it looks like he might. He's like a plug your nose and play like T. Higgins. I won't do that, but go with God. Rome Odunze, I need to read about what extent he practiced today, because he popped up with a hip injury yesterday. And so if he didn't practice today, kind of removes him from playable. If he did practice today in full, I think he's like, you go with him again. He had like 200 air yards, 11 targets. His third game, he got rolled up on week 1, so he's getting healthier. And again, you can beat the Rams deep. We've seen Juwan Jennings beat the Rams deep. We saw Brandon Ayuk wide open deep. We saw Marvin Harrison Jr. beat the Rams deep. We saw Jamison Williams do it. So I prefer Rome and Moore as guys able to win down the field than Keenan. But we'll have to see Rome's health. Tutu Atwell, a viable punt wide receiver there. Still don't think we know much about the wide receivers. They're all cheap that you can roll the dice on any of them. I guess Tutu's the best of the bunch. Tight end. I would not recommend playing Cole Kmet if Keenan Allen's active. Insane usage last week. I think he's trending up and Gerald Everett's playing less, but still, if Keenan's there, unplayable. Parkinson's a viable punt. And then, yeah, Bears defense, firmly in play. 3,100, one of the best units in football, facing a team that will probably pass a lot. wheels up. Jordan Love. I'm definitely going to be firing up some Jordan Love if he plays. He's 6K. Everyone out there thinks the Vikings are the best team in football. Their defense is so good. They just shut down Brock Purdy. They just shut down CJ Stroud. So the combination of Love returning from injury and the Vikings defense being legit, which they seem to be, is going to have people off of Love. I think he's playable. Sam Darnold, sure, you can do it if you're doing a Viking stack. Aaron Jones, definitely the running back I'm most interested in, mainly because he's got back-to-back weeks of 6 targets each in games that the Vikings won. He's also just been good anytime he's been on the field. And yeah, you can really do what you want against this Packers defense. So Aaron Jones, revenge game, very viable play. I'm going to be firing him up. Jacobs is a not for me. Again, Brian Flores defenses usually blitz a lot, so don't really want to go there. No one else really playable. Wide receiver, he's not my preferred stud, Jefferson, but he's in play any given week. I mean, he's only seen targets of 8, 7, and 6, so there's room for more. It's also just like, if this game could go to a shootout, you like Jefferson a lot more. He's also just kind of running hot, though. Jaden Reed, definitely my favorite Packers wide receiver, simply underpriced with Love at helm. Addison, if he's active, I'm also interested in game stacks. You know, players returning from injury, we generally don't. The field doesn't play them a lot. Dobbs is a never for me. Christian Watson, yeah, I think he's a great tournament play. Super high ceiling, super low floor. Who cares? Wicks in the same vein. Naylor, I think he's getting too expensive for what his workload is. He's just caught a touchdown every week. Not sustainable to me. No one really punt in this game. Tight end, I think Kraft is definitely viable with Love active. He was the preferred tight end week 1. And so I think you can fire him up, especially if Higgins is going to be popular for the Cardinals with no Trey McBride. Really no one from the Vikings viable. And then, yeah, I think if you're not going to play Love, I think the Vikings defense at 2,900 is viable as well. Moving on. Stroud, Jags at Houston. No one is going to want to play Trevor Lawrence. No one. I think he is a great tournament play because of that. Yeah, the vibes are low. I'm not going to lie. However, looking at their schedule, Cleveland, one of the better defenses in football. Buffalo, one of the better defenses in football. Miami, easier to run on than pass on. So a little bit, and like they should have won this game. You know, they should have won this game. So I think Trevor is definitely a viable, like he'll come in at like 3% owned. And I personally think it doesn't look great right now. The Jags coaches might get fired, but I think just like the Bengals, I still believe in Trevor. I think he can turn it around. I think he's capable. The Texans defense is pretty legit, both against the run and pass, but they're giving up points, so you could do worse in a game stack. Stroud, I also doubt people are going to play. People were excited. Now they've been disappointed 3 weeks in a row. So especially with both Tank and maybe Nico missing this game, again, we need a lot of injury information. Doubt that people are going to pay up $7K for Stroud when guys like Kyler Murray are priced around there at 6,800. Like, I mean, who would prefer Stroud there? So, yeah, definitely think you can go Stroud as well. ETN, again, he is in the same vein as like Kyron, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon last week, who I called out. Guys who are too expensive for what we've seen, but we still know they could smash, right? So ETN can score 30 points any given week. He played into the blowout. Tank Bigsby got hurt in the Bills game. I think he's fine, but he did. Joe Mixon looks like he was at practice. So if he is active, yep, he's in play. I would not play Cam Akers, but go with God. Wide receiver, Nico's a smash if he's healthy. The Jaguars are without like several of their top corners as well. So looks like he did practice Friday. Diggs, especially if there's no Tank, is firmly in play as well. Pretty good underlying numbers for him. I still think he was targeted a lot, partially because it was a revenge game. I do prefer Tank if Tank was healthy, but Tank might not be healthy. So like a Stroud double with Nico and Diggs could be a super smash. Tank didn't practice Friday. If he's active, he could come in at real low ownership. He's too cheap for his talent. But yeah, the injury's not great there. Kirk and Brian Thomas are my favorite. More so Kirk. Was banged up in training camp. His underlying like open score is pretty good. Saw 10 targets last week. And yeah, I think people just like thought he was dead. I don't think that. I think he's going to average like, 12 to 13 PPR points. He's too cheap for what he is. Gabe Davis is a too expensive for what he is role, but capable of breaking the slate. And then, yeah, Brian Thomas, just like a really talented football player. The Bills are hard to throw outside the numbers on, and so he didn't have the great game on 9 targets, but yeah, I definitely think he's viable in game stacks. Tight end with no Ingram, that puts Brenton Strange back as a viable punt tight end. Got a lucky touchdown. You're hoping for touchdowns here. Schultz is a too expensive. No one will play him. Fire him up in game stacks type of guy. Plug your nose. Yeah, he could still have big games. And yeah, moving on. Honestly, I would just bet on the Bills. Yeah, I don't know. Pitt at Indy. Yeah, I mean, if ever like of these two games, the game I'd more want to fade is Bengals Panthers. I could see that game getting ugly. It's hard for me to see the Cardinals outright failing against the Commanders. Pitt at Indy. Fields, man. Fields is a great play this week. Indy, you can run on, you can pass on. And so Jalen Warren's not going to play. Najee's banged up. This could be the game where even though like Fields, we've not gotten any nuke games, he still has that in his bag, right? Like this could be a game where we get closer to like 12 rushing attempts, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. So definitely think Fields is firmly in play. Richardson will come in at 5% or less owned. Richardson can beat up on any defense ever. I could see with him struggling passing, them letting him run more soon. So yeah, playing Richardson, fading the noise, seems pretty viable in tournaments to me. JT, too expensive to me, but most people will feel that way. So he's a great like pay up because he's too expensive guy. Those guys are always viable in tournaments. Najee is a never for me. He should be pretty popular with no Jalen Warren. He just has no explosiveness to me. I think this is a bit of an outlier, the 5 targets. Yeah, he ran for like 4 yards a carry, 4.1 yards per carry. Good football player, not a good fantasy football player, in my opinion. And then, yeah, Jalen, I mean, if you're suicidal, you could play Patterson. I don't know. I'm not going to do it, but you could. Wide receiver, George Pickens is a great play with Fields this week. I think he's really the only wide receiver I want to be playing from this game. I think Downs as well. Downs did not play a full complement of snaps. Expecting him to ramp up here. Michael Pittman is a plug your nose, play a 1% owned guy. Hope he scores a touchdown. I think Alec Pierce is a play every week as like a low floor, but has this in his bag of tricks. And then if Roman Wilson misses, I guess you could like fire up Calvin Austin, and he's going to have some games like this year. Tight end, I think Freiermuth is a pretty good play with Fields as well. If you didn't want to go Pickens, I think even a Fields double stack, people probably won't want to do that. I could see it getting there. We saw Fields double stacks get there with Cole Kmet and DJ Moore. Not too dissimilar, Pat Freiermuth and George Pickens. No one playable on the Indy side. And then Steelers defense, a little too cheap for what it is. We know Anthony Richardson will do turnovers, so I think they're firmly in play at 3,300. Moving on. We got Denver at the Jets. Yeah, I think the Broncos are the pay down defensive choice this week. Looking at that. You could do the Patriots too. Against, the 49ers without some of their pieces. But I think people will want to play the Broncos. The Jets don't play fast. They're 2,500. They're a good unit. They've scored 6 points or higher in all their games. No one will play Rodgers. He's too expensive. So if you are going to do a jet stack and hope all the other games fail, I think it's viable. No one will play Bo Nix, including myself. So yeah, they're both tournament guys. Brees Hall, still a great pay up option. You get the Broncos more on the ground, 22nd in rushing yards per game. And people will probably respect the Broncos defense a little too much. So Brees always in play. Really, I don't want to play any Broncos pieces ever. If you're brave, I guess you could try Tyler Beatty at 4K. And then, Braylon Allen, I don't think he's playable, but he's not too far from it. 11 and 7 rushing attempts, 3 and 4. So, yeah. Wide receiver, I think Garrett Wilson's a pretty great tournament play. Even in Battle Royale or the underdog drafts, like I'm seeing Garrett Wilson fall all the time because of Pat Surtain. And my read on that is like Garrett Wilson is not a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. or DK Metcalf, where he's going to like stay on the outside of the field. You can move Garrett Wilson into the slot. And like Garrett Wilson is a guy who just like can get open against anyone. So I think he'll be pretty low owned. He's not put up a big score yet. Those guys are always low owned. So I think he's a great tournament play. And Brees Hall should be more popular. No one really else is playable. Mike Williams is going to have a big game soon. He's trending up, but it's a tough sell. And then Conklin and Dulcich are both in play as tight ends. Again, the Jets usually play so slow, so it's like you got to run pure to win with it. But Conklin's been running all the routes. Dulcich, not the best option. 0 targets in last week's win. And the defenses we already talked about. Philly at Tampa. Jalen Hurts probably going to come in pretty low owned. Don't see many people wanting to pay up at quarterback with Kyler Murray there at 6,800. He's still rushing the ball. And he is going to steal some touchdowns from Saquon. Like Saquon's not going to get all those touchdowns. So we are going to get some 40-point games from Hurts this season, 35-point games, whatever. And Tampa's defense, like, not good right now. You can run on them. You can pass on them. I think Vita Vea's back, banged up. Mayfield, you could go there as well. He's pretty expensive. I'm not interested, but Eagles defense, nothing special. Although I'm kind of expecting the Eagles defense to improve as the year goes on. They just held down the Saints, and they draft a lot of corners who aren't all playing yet. Saquon, he's a great play every week. Just elite usage here. If he's going to be so high owned because he's put up 2 36-point games, that makes me want to play other pieces in tournaments. But we know Saquon can explode any given week. He looks great. Rashad White, I think, is a decent tournament play. Bucky Irving said he's going to play, although he's banged up. And I think if you play White, you play him in Hurts stacks. So you play like Hurts to Goddard or Hurts to whatever. And then you bring Rashad White as the bring back, where really, Rashad White's not the most efficient runner. He did get subbed in at the 1-yard line to get the goal line carry here. Didn't get in. But target totals of 6 in 2 games, expecting the Bucs to be trailing here. So you could see, a Rashad White line where it's like 7 catches, 50 yards, a touchdown, gets another one on the ground. He's 6K. No one wants to play him. Pretty good tournament play. AJ Brown, doubt he plays, but he's playable if he does. Devonta Smith, doubt he plays, but he's playable if he does. Eagles got a bye week, so they probably let him sit. If people are just going to follow the box scores and play Godwin, who is pretty fortunate to get a touchdown to save his week last week, that makes me want to play for Mike Evans. Mike Evans should be pretty low owned after putting up 2 stinkers. Even his good game wasn't really that impressive. Just scored 2 touchdowns. So I think he's viable in Bucks and Eagle stacks. Lots of cheap playable players here. Not Jahan Dotson, not ever, not even in a fire. But Johnny Wilson, I mean, got his first snaps pretty much. But the Eagles could be no AJ Brown, no Devonta Smith. You got to throw to someone. Dotson can't demand targets. So I think Johnny Wilson, very playable. Brenton Covey went on IR too. McMillan is always a viable, hope he scores long touchdown guy. But yeah, you got to be brave to do that. Done nothing. And that's really it. I don't even know who the other Eagles wide receiver is. Like, I guess they're probably gonna go 2 tight end. So I don't know. It's an ugly game right now. Dallas Goedert, yep, you can go right back there. He's kind of just the de facto number 1 there. Don't care about like opponent ranking against tight ends. It's not that meaningful anyways. And also he's gonna like operate as wide out. Kate Otten, meh. You need touchdowns. Sure, he's in play. Calcaterra, like, no, but he should be on the field a lot. Stall, no. So yeah, I don't know. Ugly game. And then Eagles defense, I think they are definitely viable if I was going to go do a defense in this game. Moving on. Paris Campbell. Yeah, I mean, I can't do Paris Campbell, man. He's going to be out there, but he's 3K. He played a lot, 50% of the snaps. You could do worse. You need a touchdown. You know, not for me. Washington and Arizona. This is the chalk game of the week. Kyler Murray, people are going to play. Jaden Daniels, people are going to play. Of the two, I prefer Kyler. I still don't think we know a lot about the Cardinals defense. They did not impress me at all against Buffalo. The Rams defense is terrible. They did not impress me against the Lions. So now I don't think we're going to learn anything from this game because everyone looks good against the Commanders. Commanders are 30th in points allowed, 31st in passing yards, 18th in rushing yards. Daniels, also super viable, both because he's been getting there and because he's an ascending player. So we've not even seen the best Jaden Daniels yet. Getting there he's doing it on the ground, 10 rushing attempts in every game this year. I think Cliff is going to open up this offense and let Daniels throw it more down the field. He won't always hit them for touchdowns, but yeah, he's in play. James Conner, my favorite running back play of this week, or from this game. Expecting them to give him a lot of work. He's dominating touches, dominating snaps. Should be involved in the passing game as well. Brian Robinson, also a viable play. Especially if Austin Eckler is concussed. He should be pretty chalky at 6,100. You can run on the Cardinals. No one else is really playable. Maybe they let Chris Rodriguez see the field, but no, I don't even think he's the third. I think it's McNichols. Yeah, not playable. Marvin Harrison Jr., I'll definitely be playing him this week. Quadriceps injury, I think that's just a cautionary tag, not a big deal. Number 1 wide receivers just get there on the Commanders. So Marvin Harrison Jr., yes. He's expensive for what he is still. And he's going to be popular. He's going to be very popular. Everyone knows wide receiver 1s can get there against the Commanders. So I'm going to eat that chalk. Terry McLaurin, I think, is definitely viable. Should be kind of popular just because this game is. But he's the de facto deep ball guy. Dortch, no, he's really not that viable to me. Short A-dot guy. Michael Wilson, though, definitely is viable. I think Kyler Murray, Wilson, and Marvin, or just Kyler Murray and Marvin, or Kyler Murray and Michael Wilson, where solid targets, and his body type is more like Marvin, where he can beat outside corners. Luke McCaffrey, I don't think he's playable yet. He's getting there, but I think we need to see more from him. Didn't play that much, 34% of the snaps. The guy I think is more playable is Noah Brown. He's trending up, signed to the team after he was cut by the Texans. And yeah, he's pretty cheap. I think he's like kind of the de facto number 2 right now. We've seen big games from him in the past, so he is definitely in play. Really, none of these other bums are. Tight end with no McBride. We should see a chalky Elijah Higgins. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm going to be tempted to just not eat the chalk here. But if you're game stacking this game, I'd probably fire up Higgins in those game stacks. Sinnott isn't playable. The other guy is Tip Riemann, but he's a blocking guy in my mind. And then Ertz, yeah, plug your nose. Ertz is playable. I'm not going to do it. He's 4K, but he should be pretty low owned. So if you're going to game stack this game, like something to do for popular game stacks is rather than just like fade them, you stack them unpopular. So a Kyler stack with Zach Ertz and Michael Wilson. Boom. That like Kyler Murray chalky, but Michael Wilson and Ertz are not. So then you can build whatever else chalk you want. New England. Oh yeah, and then defense wise, I think the Cardinals defense is kind of interesting. You know, they scored a defensive touchdown, okay, on like a kick return. Then they got 5 sacks against the Rams. I don't think they'll be that popular, and still a rookie quarterback. Jaden Daniels could make a mistake or two. So yeah, I'd rather play Kyler than Jaden, but I think both will be super chalky. You got it, Patrick. Sorry I don't got the normal article this week, but we'll return with that next week. And let me know in the comments. Maybe you prefer this type of breakdown better, going game by game. I think Purdy is definitely viable. I think people have a lot of respect for the Patriots defense because they beat the Bengals week 1 and they play a lot of man defense, which good wide receivers can beat man. And I think the 49ers got good wide receivers. So Purdy's in play. No one on New England is in play in my mind. Sure, you could fire up Ramondre. I would not, though. Other people probably won't either. Mason shouldn't be as popular as he has been other weeks. He's not involved in the passing game. He's gotten priced up. So I think that puts him firmly in play. This could definitely be a game where he gets like 3 touchdowns. That's pretty much what you're hoping, though, for him. Ayuk, yep, he's in play. Kind of expensive. Hasn't gotten there yet. People think it's over for him. There's the worry about Christian Gonzalez with him. You know, Purdy missed him on a deep pass, so he's firmly in play. Going right back to Juwan Jennings is also in play. I mean, the dude just scored 50 fantasy points. So, yeah, Christian Gonzalez tends to erase the number 1. So, should really help Ayuk or Jennings, and hopefully he covers both and they both can get there. Debo, he might play, which obviously makes Jennings a worse play. I think Debo would probably be the better play there. But Debo's not as much as like a man defense beat. Like Debo's not a real wide receiver. He's a great like screen gadget merchant. So against man defense, less interested in Debo, more of a zone defense guy. Demario Douglas, yeah, I don't know if this is real or not, but I'm expecting the Patriots to trail, so definitely could see him being a viable game stacking partner here. I think Jalen Polk and just getting ahead of the rookie breakout is also viable, should be very low owned. And hopefully we get Drake May next week. Kittle, he also might play, which, you know, really complicates this game. If everyone is playing from the 49ers, I think I prefer Ayuk the best, just because I know Ayuk can destroy man defense even against Christian Gonzalez, and hopefully that loosens up the coverage for him. Sauber is obviously unplayable if Kittle plays, but he is a viable punt if not. And then Hunter Henry's banged up, and Austin Hooper played a lot last week for target, not doing anything with them, but yeah, he's like a too expensive, kind of like Ertz, viable and game stack type of guy. Chiefs and Chargers. Don't know if we're getting Herbert this week. I kind of doubt we do. Mahomes, I think, you know, I was the guy in best ball season who was like, I'm not drafting Mahomes in the 4th round. And now it feels like everyone is with me. Everyone is like, oh yeah, Mahomes, he can't get there anymore. Even Davis. So I think this is the week you play Mahomes in tournaments. Awesome leverage off of Kyler Murray. Awesome leverage off of Deshaun. My website's down. I can't access the site. So sorry, not gonna happen this week. Will be there going forward though. I don't know if the hurricane knocked it out or what, but yeah. So yeah, I think Mahomes is a great leverage piece against the Kyler stacks. He shouldn't be popular. I'm going to be playing some Mahomes. Carson Steele, my favorite running back play from this week. I don't think J.K. Dobbins is playable, but if you do, go for it. Steele's ownership should be pretty in check, especially with like P. Wright in the mix, Hunt in the mix. So I'm kind of interested in Steele in like blowouts where they're just icing the game late. Saw 17 rush attempts against Atlanta. Rashee Rice is obviously the guy to stack Mahomes with. I think Derwin James is suspended from this game, the safety for the Chargers. So I think Mahomes, Rice, and Kelsey stacks. Mahomes and Rice. Worthy should be super low owned, and we don't need to see it to know that Worthy has a super high ceiling, fastest player in football. So if the Chargers are not like doing what the Giants were last night and just like ball controlling, being super low pace, that puts Worthy in play. I don't think anyone's like Ladd McConkey is playable if Herbert plays, but if not, really no one for the Chargers for me. Juju's really cheap. He's playing a lot. You could do worse at 3,200. And then, yeah, Kelsey, don't think many people will want to play him. He hasn't gotten there yet. And so I would, I think he's a viable pay up option, should be pretty low owned. And then defense wise, Chiefs defense, pretty great play. You know, like anytime these narratives emerge that are just accepted as truth, like, oh, the Chiefs don't want to pass anymore, or the Chiefs don't care. Like, these are great times to buy in and be like, I think a small sample occurred. Cleveland at Las Vegas. Yeah, I don't think you could play. I guess you could play Watson. Both Minshew and Watson have bench risk, so sure. Not for me, but Jerome Ford, I think he's a pretty good play. Was limited. Returned to pretty much a workhorse usage against the Giants, a game they lost, but Las Vegas is definitely a team you can run on and score points on. Ford is an explosive runner. So what's great about him is even if he's not getting like 18 rush attempts, if he gets 12, he can break one of those for a 36-yard run. And we know he's going to be involved in the passing game. So I think Ford is pretty good leverage off of Zach Moss, Aaron Jones, James Conner, Chuba Hubbard should be more popular at the same price. So I'm definitely interested in Ford. Madison, if you're brave, I guess you could go there. I don't really want to, but if we're expecting the Raiders to be trailing, should be pretty involved. Zamir White seems unplayable. Abdullah operated as the pass game back. Not for me, but you could do it. Foreman barely played the last week, only 2 attempts. But maybe like if the Browns get a big, maybe we get some Foreman icing it away. Not really sure. He was banged up. Wideout, Adams is in that camp of too expensive. No one will play him. Has a high ceiling. So I think you can definitely play him. Amari Cooper, you can go right back there. Myers is in play. Trey Tucker, super interesting. Don't know, like, I don't see this sustainable. This was obviously partially brought on by them trailing and by, like, he got a touchdown in garbage time from Aiden O'Connell. But high ADOT guy, caught a 54-yard catch. So I think at 3,600, especially in game stacks, he's viable. Jerry Jeudy having a pretty good season. Target totals was 7, 6, and 8, same as Justin Jefferson. Yeah, you know, a 10-point PPR guy right now and scores a touchdown or two. It can help you win tournaments. Should be very low owned. Same thing with Myers. And then, yeah, Elijah Moore, he's like, he plays a lot, but no, not for me. Tight end, Bowers, you can go right back there. He barely got targeted last week. I still question the touchdown upside on him, but we're expecting that his workload is going to improve as the year goes on. Jordan Akins is operating as the Browns' tight end until Njoku returns. Saw 7 targets last week, 4 catches. You could do worse at 3K in my mind. Michael Mayer, yeah, if you're like uber brave, you could do that. Not for me though. Defense, Browns defense, a pretty great play. Raiders defense also viable with how bad Deshaun Watson looks. So that's what we got, guys. Again, this is usually an article that I read, but I can't do that. I'm probably gonna play like 1 or 2 lineups this week. And for me, I think it would like one of the lineups would be the Kyler lineup. And then either like a Mahomes one to Rice, I quite like, or Jordan Love to Jaden Reed, or Trevor or Caleb. Like this, probably going to choose that. On FanDuel, they include the Sunday night game, so definitely going to just fire up a Josh Allen lineup there, and have a sweat for that game. Let's build a pick'em line for this slate of games and get out of here. Again, I gotta go. A little bit of a tighter schedule today than usual. And if you haven't, guys, check out Liam Teaches Chess, a chess channel I launched. Champions. Yeah, David, watch the video. Talked about them both. I think I like Eric All better, but I think Higgins will be more popular. So let's go. And I'm not building this on my phone anymore. I'm tired of building it on my desktop and my location not working. Yeah, I do need to shave the mustache. Okay. Aaron Jones, let's definitely get a revenge game going for him. And let's take his higher on 21.5 receiving yards. Yeah, I'm going to post the link in my Discord and then copy that to post here. Link to join the Discord's below, by the way. Yeah, I think Bijan, people are down on him. We haven't seen like the huge games, and I'm into it. Let's take a lower on Deontay Johnson. Yeah, lower than 61.5 receiving yards for him. Just hoping that this is juiced a little bit based off his good week. Let's go to Roschon Johnson touchdown. Hell yeah. Roschon Johnson touchdown. Pretty crazy one, but we're doing it. Let's get a Pickens, George Pickens, over 52.5 receiving yards. And let's get one more in there. I might remove the Roschon Johnson one just because it's pretty wild. And it's not like I'm going to remove the Roschon one because they're only giving me 1.78x for a touchdown, and it should be like closer to like 3x. Let's get a Marvin Harrison Jr. over and eat the chalk. Higher 71.5 receiving yards for him. Boom. All right, we got pick 5. I think you can like add profit boost or something. Oh, no. We only have a pick 4. God, how do I do this? Okay. Now I got my profit boost in there. And let's get one more pick. All right, so we have 4 guys here. Marvin Harrison Jr. higher, Pickens higher, Deontay lower, Aaron Jones higher receiving. Who else do we want to short? Who are some lowers that we want to short? What are we getting on Terry? I would definitely short J.K. Dobbins if I could. I don't even know who some of these people are. Let's take the Rachaad White receiving yards higher. That's one I like too. Rachaad White higher than 23.5 receiving yards. We got a pick high or whatever. You guys can put whatever you want on this. I'm putting 100. We're rolling some of the profits in. We're robbing underdog. Okay, now I'm going to share this in my Discord, and then I'm going to paste that in here. Swift under, I think that's a good one too. Okay. Again, the link to join my Discord is below. It's free. And let's paste here. No, I don't want to paste a Discord link. Guys, I don't know how to share. Let me do this. Copy. Paste. All right, this should work. If this doesn't work for you and you want to tail, join my Discord and click the link. It's in the Underdog NFL channel. And check if you have any profit boost before you do it. I didn't profit boost last night, and I hit a pick'em slip, so that's a bummer. And if you don't like some of the lines, put your own line in. You know, gamble responsibly. Put however much you want on it. $5, $10. Play to your own bankroll. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this video is helpful. Again, sorry I couldn't get the article out this week. We'll be back next week with that. Couldn't get my, I don't know what happened to the server. I'm assuming the hurricane or something. We'll be back Sunday morning for if you have questions about start-sit questions, etc. So if you want to hang out Sunday morning, I'll be back then. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Peace out. Have a great weekend. And hell yeah, we got that Rico Dowdle touchdown.